The future of Social Security, the program that millions of Americans rely on every single month to survive, is hanging by a thread. According to the Social Security Administration's latest report, the trust fund that fuels retirement and disability payments is running out faster than expected. If nothing changes, the agency warns that on January 1st, 2026, the system could reach a breaking point. That means benefits for retirees, disabled workers, and surviving spouses could suddenly be slashed by nearly 24%. Imagine waking up one day to find that the check you depend on to pay your rent, buy groceries, and afford your medication has been cut almost a quarter overnight. For millions of seniors already struggling to make ends meet, that's not just a financial setback, it's a crisis. Welcome to Truth Lens, the channel that pulls back the curtain on what's really happening in Washington and how it affects hardworking Americans, especially seniors who have built this country with decades of labor, sacrifice, and contribution. Here at Truth Lens, we go beyond the headlines to give you the real story behind the numbers, because we know that for millions of retirees and Social Security recipients, this isn't just news, it's your life, your livelihood, and your future. Every day we hear from seniors across America, from small towns in West Virginia to big cities in California, who are doing everything they can just to stay afloat. The rent is higher, groceries are more expensive, and prescription costs have become unbearable. And now, with this new warning from the Social Security Administration, the anxiety about tomorrow has grown even deeper. Let's break down what's really going on. According to official SSA projections, if Congress doesn't act soon, the program will only be able to pay about 76 cents for every dollar owed in benefits starting in early 2026. This isn't speculation, it's their own data. If you're currently receiving $2,000 a month, you could soon see that drop to $1,520. For a senior living on a fixed income, that $480 loss could mean skipping meals, falling behind on bills, or being forced to choose between food and medicine. Inflation has already stretched seniors' budgets to the limit. Everything from utilities to healthcare premiums keeps rising, while Social Security's modest cost of living adjustments barely make a dent. So, how did we get here? This crisis didn't happen overnight. It's the result of a perfect storm, decades in the making. Every day, 10,000 baby boomers retire while the number of workers paying into the system continues to shrink. Back in 1960, there were over 5 workers for every Social Security recipient. Today, that number has fallen to less than 3, and it's still dropping. Add in slower wage growth, the lingering effects of the pandemic, and years of political gridlock, and it's clear that the foundation of Social Security is cracking under the weight of an aging population. But here's where it gets even more troubling. As we approach another contentious election year, lawmakers are deeply divided over how to fix the problem. Some want to raise the retirement age to reduce the strain on the system. Others are pushing to increase payroll taxes on higher earners. A few propose recalculating benefits or trimming future payouts. But despite endless debate, no consensus has been reached, and time is quickly running out. For millions of older Americans, that uncertainty is terrifying. These are people who have worked hard all their lives, paid into the system with every paycheck, and now depend on it to survive. They're not asking for luxuries, just the basics: food, shelter, and dignity. If the system falters, it won't be politicians who feel the pain. It'll be the grandmother who has to choose between heating her home and filling her prescriptions. It'll be the disabled veteran who suddenly can't afford transportation or medical care. It'll be the widowed spouse wondering how to pay the mortgage on half the income she once had. The harsh truth is that many seniors are already living on the edge. Surveys show that 1 in 4 retirees depends almost entirely on Social Security for income. The average monthly benefit barely covers essentials, and now with the cost of living soaring, even that's not enough. Rent has climbed nearly 20% in some areas, while the price of basic groceries like milk, eggs, and bread has nearly doubled in the past few years. For those living on fixed incomes, every dollar matters, and a sudden 24% cut could push millions into poverty. The Social Security Administration's report is more than just a warning. It's a wake-up call. The trust fund that pays out retirement and disability benefits is being drained faster than it can replenish. Unless Congress takes decisive action soon, the program will only have enough to cover a portion of promised benefits. And while lawmakers continue to debate over tax reforms and retirement age adjustments, it's ordinary Americans, especially seniors, who are left wondering what will happen next. What's even more alarming is that this issue has flown under the radar for far too long. While politicians campaign on promises to protect seniors, the math tells a different story. The system simply wasn't designed to handle today's demographic realities. When Social Security was first established in the 1930s, the average life expectancy was around 61 years, meaning most people didn't even live long enough to collect benefits for very long. Today, life expectancy is closer to 79, which means the system is paying out for nearly 2 extra decades per person. That's an incredible achievement for humanity, but a financial strain on a program that was never built for it. Meanwhile, inflation has chipped away at the real value of Social Security checks. Even with annual cost of living adjustments, COLA, many seniors find that their benefits don't stretch as far as they used to. In 2024, for example, the average COLA increase was less than the rise in Medicare premiums, meaning seniors actually took home less money than before. Now, imagine combining that with a 24% cut. Now, it's a disaster waiting to happen. And for seniors already living on the edge, this kind of financial shock would be devastating. Many have no savings left, no pension, and no family able to step in. They've already trimmed every corner of their budgets. They've sold cars, moved to smaller apartments, and clipped every coupon they can find. And yet, they still fall short. Across America, food banks report record numbers of senior citizens seeking help, a heartbreaking sign that the promise of retirement security is slipping away. The situation is especially dire for those on Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, and Supplemental Security Income, SSI. These programs support millions of Americans who cannot work due to illness or disability, and many of whom rely on every single dollar they receive. A 24% reduction wouldn't just be inconvenient, it would be catastrophic. It could mean losing access to medications, medical devices, or even housing. And despite the growing urgency, political leaders seem more focused on pointing fingers than finding solutions. Some argue that raising taxes is unfair to younger workers, while others insist that increasing the retirement age punishes those who've spent decades doing physically demanding jobs. Meanwhile, seniors, the people who've done everything right, who've paid into the system for 40 or 50 years, are the ones left holding their breath. The truth is, America's seniors deserve better. They deserve security, stability, and peace of mind in their later years, not constant fear about whether their next check will arrive. They've weathered recessions, wars, and pandemics. They've built families, communities, and the very backbone of this country. And now, as the system they funded faces collapse, they're the ones being asked to bear the burden. The clock is ticking. With just over a year until 2026, the fate of Social Security hangs in the balance. Lawmakers in Washington will need to make tough choices, and soon. But as history has shown, political gridlock often means waiting until the last possible moment to act. For the millions of seniors, retirees, and disabled Americans depending on these benefits, that delay could be devastating. Here at Truth Lens, we'll continue to follow this story closely, tracking every update, every new report, and every statement from Washington, because for millions of Americans, this isn't just a policy debate. It's about survival. The Social Security system is more than just a government program. It's a lifeline. And right now, that lifeline is fraying. As we move toward 2026, one thing is clear. This country cannot afford to turn its back on its seniors. They've paid into this system their entire lives. They've earned every dollar of their benefits. And now, as the system faces its greatest test yet, it's time for the nation to remember what Social Security was built for: to protect those who have given everything when they need it most.